Good afternoon. The distinguished speaker of the day, Dr. Mamta Chawla, faculty, Amity University, the attendees of the FDP program organized by St. Chavara Center for Technical Excellence and Educational Innovations of St. Aloysius College, Thrissur, Kerala, participants who have joined this invited lecture from different parts of the globe, the coordinator of the center, Dr. Sindo Jacob, the coordinator of IQAC of the college, Dr. Libizan, Dr. Rahul Rajan, Dr. Jasmine Matthew, other faculty members of the college, colleagues, and dear friends. The St. Chavara Center for Teaching Excellence and Educational Innovations of St. Aloysius College initiated an FDP for young faculty members earlier this year with a lecture every month. And this is the 6th in that series. Every month, a topic of relevance is chosen and an expert speaker is invited. Today, we have an invited lecture on the topic, NEP 2020, a step towards fulfilling Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's vision of nation building. The reason for choosing the topic is obvious. We celebrated Ambedkar Jayanti on April 14th, and NEP 2020 is a path-breaking policy for India's education sector. So we thought we will combine these two topics. Ambedkar believed that education is a movement. If it does not fulfill its objectives, it is of no use. True education cradles humanity, generates source of livelihood, imparts wisdom, and imbues us with egalitarianism. The National Education Policy, NEP 2020, which was approved by the Government of India, is a comprehensive framework that aims to transform the education system in the country. The NEP 2020 has been hailed as a step towards fulfilling Dr. Ambedkar's vision of nation building, as it aims to provide equitable and inclusive education to all students in the country, regardless of their social or economic background. Dr. Ambedkar, as you know, who is known as the architect of the Indian Constitution, was a strong advocate of education as a means of social transformation. He believed that education was the key. It was key to empowering marginalized communities and creating a more equitable and just society. The NEP 2020 reflects this vision by focusing on the key areas, which are inclusivity and access. The NEP 2020 aims to provide equitable access to education for all, including those from disadvantaged backgrounds. It emphasizes the importance of early childhood education, special needs education, and vocational education to ensure that no student is left behind. Providing education in the vernacular is another sign in this direction. The NEP 2020 emphasizes the need for a student-centric education system that focuses on developing critical thinking, creativity, and problem-solving skills. It also recognizes the importance of interdisciplinary learning and encourages integration of vocational education into mainstream education. The NEP 2020 recognizes the importance of technology in education and aims to leverage it to improve learning outcome. The NEP 2020 also recognizes the critical role of teacher in the education system. Overall, NEP 2020 represents a significant step towards fulfilling the visionary of Indian Constitution of building a strong and democratic nation. The educational system, when it is revamped, I'm sure will further strengthen the secular character of our nation. By focusing on inclusivity, quality, innovation, and empowerment, NEP 2020 aims to create a more equal and just society by providing all students with the equal opportunity. Now, let me come to my duty of welcoming the gathering. The speaker of the day, Dr. Mamta Chawla, is Faculty of Marketing at Amity University, Uttar Pradesh. Dr. Mamta has 5 years of industry and more than 13 years of university level teaching experience. Since she will be introduced formally later in this program, I'm not attempting to introduce her. But I would like to read out a testimonial on her LinkedIn profile by one of her students. The student testifies that Dr. Mamta was always having a full positive attitude and support for the students. Or she always give the right direction and correct path for the students. A colleague of her testifies Dr. Mamta is a highly skilled professional in her area and a keen observer of opportunities. She is a dedicated, smart worker with a flair for student development. This is Dr. Mamta Chawla, the speaker of the day. I met her in a webinar, and when I requested her whether she will be able to give this invited lecture, she readily agreed. I'm really thankful to her for her readiness to deliver this lecture. I extend a very warm welcome to Dr. Mamta Chawla on behalf of St. Aloysius College and all the participants of the FDP. I extend a cordial welcome to participants of the FDP program and other listeners who have joined this online session. I also welcome the faculty members of the college, staff members of the college, the coordinator of the St. Chavara Center for Teaching Excellence and Educational Innovations, Dr. Sindo Jacob, Dr. Libison, IQAC coordinator, Dr. Rahul Rajan, faculty of mathematics, who will be introducing the speaker, and Dr. Jasmine Matthew, faculty of mathematics, who will extend the word of thanks. I request all the participants to actively participate in the invited lecture and also to interact with the resource person towards the end of this session. I once again welcome all to this online lecture. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the welcome address. Now I invite Dr. Rahul Rajan, Assistant Professor, St. Aloysius College, for introducing the speaker. Sir, please.
Okay. Respected Principal Dr. Chakojo Speaker of the Day, Dr. Mamta Chawla, St. Aloysius Teaching Excellence Center Coordinator, Dr. Sindo Jacob, Dr. Libison KB, IQC Coordinator, my dear colleagues, and all other beloved participants. I am very delighted to introduce Dr. Mamta Chawla, the Speaker of the Day. Dr. Mamta Chawla is Associate Professor in Marketing, Amity University, Noida. She has 5 years of industrial experience and more than 13 years of university level teaching. She is an active researcher and her research interests include marketing, buyer behavior, relationship marketing, entrepreneurship, SMEs, digitalization of education, payment, governance, and other management disciplines. She has presented her research at national and international conferences. She has been moderator and keynote speaker on various national and international platforms. Her research paper and case studies are published in reputed journals. Recently, she was awarded Ratna Bharat Amrit Award and Great Ratna Super Speaker Award constituted by International R&D Creativity Organization USA and Happiness Club Indo. Ma'am, we are honored to have you today as the speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Mamta, you can start now. Dr. Mamta, can you hear me? Yes, you're not audible. Can you hear me? Yeah, but you are not audible. Ma'am, can you just click on the audio icon? Probably it's disabled.
Speaker.
Audio options below.
Audio.
Yeah, we hear you now.
Now you can hear me.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. Okay, I'm turning off my video so that my voice is loud and clear. Am I audible now? Good evening, everyone.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, my sincere apologies. That is the beauty of digitalization and how we encounter certain issues while joining. And Zoom is nothing like a new platform. So, okay, so I'm starting. First of all, my many apologies for the delay in joining and this connectivity issue. I would like to thank Principal Sir, Dr. Chakojos, for inviting me for this particular gathering. And I'm really delighted to get a detailed introduction and my testimonials about working. Let me first tell the whole background. It's all because of COVID-19. I was not that camera person. I was not that online kind of person because I was always there in university teaching, having 70 students to 30 students, addressing them loudly. So it's all because of internet and because of COVID that we are here. Thanks to internet, that is something, a positive effect of COVID, that we can hold 7:30 in the evening in FDP. And thanks to the organizer, St. Aloysius College, to organize this kind of FDP when the faculties can enrich themselves with the latest information. And I'm thankful once again to the college for holding this in the evening so that along with my regular responsibility as associate professor, I can be here to address my fellow colleagues. So I believe all our academicians over here and all our learners. That is the reason they have joined, all 54 people beyond their work hours. So we are true learners that we are attending an FDP in the evening. Thank you so much. So I'm starting with the topic. The topic is NEP, National Education Policy 2020, is something a reflection of the visionary, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's vision about national building. So how NEP is going to contribute towards the fulfillment of the dream of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar about building India, India superpower once again. That is the whole idea about having this particular topic. And thanks to Sir, Joe sir have already introduced in quite capsule form vision and experience and dream of Dr. Ambedkar about India, about education, about inclusion. So that is the whole idea here in this particular FDP. In these few minutes, we'll be briefly talking about what was the dream and vision of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar about India and how it is towards the nation building, especially the education is a must, and how NEP 2020, especially when we are into higher education, we are the educator, we are the academicians. So we need to appreciate our role. And what is the whole idea, starting from the visionary to the current state, starting from independence till date, how we Indian and Indian educators and academician can contribute towards nation building. That is the reason this topic is very apt for us in today's context. So we'll be covering, let's start with the vision of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who was a great educationalist who suffered a lot because he belonged to a community where he understood how the classes can be oppressed. In his word, education is that which make men fearless, teach unity, make understand their birthright, and teach a man to struggle and fight for the freedom. It was his vision for India where he encouraged that yes, for the progress of the nation, we need to stress upon industrialization. For industrialization, we need to educate people. It was his dream for inclusion, for taking away all those boundaries of gender and those social systems. He was the social reformer who actually contributed a lot in terms of having those clauses in our constitution. He was a champion in terms of social justice because he suffered a lot, and he was the proponent of equality. He was having a dream for India. It was not about only one community, about Dalit. He was actually raising his voice and concern for any kind of discrimination and oppression. That was the reason he wanted and he supported principle of democracy. That is the whole idea in India. Social justice and equality. In his view, democracy is the only way which can ensure through the governance equality. Equality of all the citizens, they having all the opportunities to succeed, and how that can be a contribution towards the nation building. He advocated empowering communities, especially marginalized communities, how they should be given equal chance to progress. I would appreciate to change the slide, please. So he believed that economic development is a must for India to succeed and come at the world level. So for that, industrialization, modernization, and job creation was must. For job creation, again, skilling of people was a must. So for skilling, education again. So it was a cycle which he believed that through education, awareness only, we can talk about getting away of those inequalities, differences between men and women, caste, system, and we can really advocate social democracy. In his views, education is for lifelong. Because of education, people would really support employability, economic empowerment, and social justice. He advocated having basic education, especially in the rural areas, to the unprivileged or weaker communities so that they can also practice. And especially, he advocated vocational and practical education. There are a number of times debate about employability. Is the type of education system we are following is going to get us That is the concern. That is the reason so many changes have been introduced. That was his vision, that yes, through education only we can be a superpower once again. That is the reason we are trying to connect all these dots together. So another contribution, or I would say emphasis on quality education, is SDG. So this is what I have covered already. His vision for India, that we need to focus on economic development, economy and economic. So how we need to indulge into different kind of economic activities that would really result into employment generation, purchasing power, and lifestyle that would really talk about society upliftment. For that, he asked for focus on industrialization, modernization that would empower the country, empowerment of Indians, citizens. And in social system, we need to talk about those democracy, no differences, and how education should be a must, especially the primary education should be a must, especially in rural areas, so that we can really have better employability. Building character and morality, that is another concern, that education is lifelong, experience based. It's not about employability only, but character building. That our education system should follow ethos, Indian ethos, where we are talking a lot about community and society concern. So he wanted to get away with those caste-based discrimination, where some were deprived of, because of financial reason or because of the caste system, they were deprived of having higher education. You may change the slide.
Hello, Dr. Mamda, we can't hear you. Dr. Mamda.
Sir, am I audible now?
Yes, you are. You are.
Okay.
Yes, you are.
Okay. Okay. Sometime I'm not changing setting, maybe from. Okay. So I'm once again talking about nation building and how nation building and education are connected. For any nation, we need to really empower the people to progress and have a peaceful and prosperous life. For that, it's a must that especially they are educated in terms of the youth. When we talk about India is a country where the mean age of people, we are the youngest populated country in the world. And how these youth are the driving force. They can take the country into any direction. And through education only, we can provide them a sense of purpose, and the type of skills we are providing, the type of institutions and governance we are providing them, they are going to build a nation. That is the reason for nation building is a must. It's very critical to manage our youth well. And to manage our youth well, we need to provide them the Indian culture and ethos, which would really make them conscious of their roles and responsibility. That is the reason I've highlighted the sense of purpose. This is provided by education. The main contribution towards building of a person start from parenting and then to the schooling and higher education. I'm assuming not everyone is reaching to the higher education, but how school becomes that primary. that they should be aware about their roles. So there are so many institutions, governance, which provide that complete ecosystem for building a morally strong human being, and especially when the personality is built, these are the initial few years.
Dr. Mamda, we can't hear you.
I'm doing once again. I think now it's better. I could see the green sign.
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Yeah. So, yeah, please, please. So, I don't know where I left in between because I was talking about nation building. You may change the slide so that I can continue. I was started with the SDGs that worldwide it's
Yes,
been
yes.
recognized that
Yeah,
how
here on this.
we need to follow, all the countries need to follow and reach sustainable development goals by 2030. These are the universal goals which are really coined by UN to eradicate poverty, and how we should be more concerned about planet and our responsibility to bring in peace and prosperity. So we as a country are already committing towards achieving those SDGs, 17 SDGs, and we do have so many such endeavors to make sure that we are reaching to those goals. And in all those goals, very important goal is education, and not education, lifelong quality education. So this is the reason I'm trying to connect that nation building to B.R. Ambedkar, Dr. Sir's vision about country and countries youth are all interconnected through education. And that is the reason we need to talk about NEP, National Education Policies, how at different point of times in 1968 to 86 and then 2020, so many changes have been proposed. In those, especially 2020 is the major milestone when we have changed our education system. So I'm skipping this quality education, highlighting that how we can ensure SDG 4 quality education, and especially we need to talk about the skill development, skill of problem solving skills, creativity, and critical thinking, not the rot running that we need to really talk about. And how we need to talk about a positive attitude in the youngsters about value system where they're aware about their roles and responsibility. They're concerned about the nature. They're concerned about their social responsibility, their consumption behavior, the type of practices they are making. the type of social environment they can create, and how empowerment in terms of economic empowerment is a must. And the whole inception or starting or the initial is education. So in 2020 on 29 July, that was introduced. Again, if you could see, it was the vision of Dr. Ambedkar that was reflected.
Ma'am, again, I can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
getting
now
that.
we can. Now we can.
I'm getting alert as well. Thank you. So we are actually learning, I think, technology. So I'm also now keeping a check. So National Education Policy, NEP, that was approved in 2020 and now it's been 3 years. So we are trying to relate what are the major pointers in these. In National Education Policy, I have divided into two. I hope my voice is loud. So we can change the slide.
Yes.
Two
Yes.
areas.
Now we can't hear you, but it was very clear then. And we can't hear you. Uh, we are sorry that our resource person is having a technical glitch. I request you to be patient for a while. She's trying to join through a new device, so may take 5 minutes. I request you all to wait for 5 minutes.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I could hear one yes from a lady.
Yes,
I hope
yes.
my voice is better now. To two parts. I hope my voice is loud and better. Please acknowledge it.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So in this national education policy, especially the whole idea is to change the primary education, the schooling part, which is a must for everyone, where we need to build a person, a human being, a nation through its pillars, which are young people. So how they can be having that love and belongingness for nation, how they'll be having their sense of duty towards family, community, and nation, and they'll be having that connection with the nature. So it's a whole idea making them aware about their roles and responsibility as the national citizen. That is the reason so many devices have been taken already. We are following NCC and all those team building based, community building based activities in the schools. Thank you so much for acknowledging. So you may see in the next slide how I'm trying to connect that how we are moving from 10+2 system to another way of education system where we have 5+3, 3+4 year structure. That means aligning with what everyone in the world is following, which we call as Bloom's taxonomy, where we giving these creative mind scope to think. You could relate these Bloom's taxonomy and the structure. How initial year, rather than stressing upon number of books and the weight carried by the students in the school and the parents involving them to complete their homework, we are talking initially on activity-based learning. Initially, fundamental is flexible play activity. It means that childhood of 5 years, preschool and class 1st and 2, which are the fundamental to create a curiosity in a kid about learning. So how it's more about flexibility, play and activity based learning. And in the next 3 years, the preparatory, again, they're talking about interaction, interactivity, building relationship. And next 3 years, starting from class 6 to 8, which we call as middle stage, experiential. That means they need to really make an observation rather than following. As much I understand, in case in a class nobody is raising a question, that means either they're understanding everything or they're not in the class at all. That is the reason learning through experiential is the lifelong learning, discussions, and how we need to encourage, especially in this system, 6 to 8 years. If you could relate now with Bloom's taxonomy, remember, like tables, alphabets, words, spelling, initially they need to remember and understand. Starting from words to letters, then creative writing. If you could see, not everyone reads to that creative writing. How we need to create that system where they can have their own rhymes. Why they are always having that rhymes. So at what stage? Why can't a small kid be having a storyteller as well or making his own stories? They do make stories when we are giving them those rhymes. Johnny, Johnny, yes, Papa. Why can't they make their own rhymes? They can make their own songs. That means we need to inculcate that kind of creativity and how the school system environment and the family environment can be about that. If you could see the last secondary stage, multidisciplinary, they should be having that wisdom to understand the, and they are better person to join for higher education. So I'm trying to really connect all these dots. What is the whole idea of having this revolutionary education system which was introduced in 2020 and how we are coming with so many changes, and the whole basic, the premises are always our visionaries. You may change the slide as well, please. Now, this is our concern. I assume all the people sitting over here are into university or colleges. So higher education system, how we won't be having this stream base. So we are talking about multidisciplinary by 2040. That is the whole idea, that higher education institution, they need to be multidisciplinary. And at least one such higher education needs to be there in every district by 2030. And all this is talking about employability, skilling and reskilling, especially the type of skills in the modern day required. If you could see in the next slide, we need to talk a lot about the skills requirement of the youngsters, of the young population, so that we can talk about the employability. We are living in a digital era. We are connected throughout the world. No longer we are holding the same way of information exchange. The communication, especially the internet, has revolutionized. So we cannot really talk about the same.
Ma'am, we can't hear you.
Now we get an alert as well. So I'm talking
okay.
about how we have changed the stream base, that yes, traditional stream based science, commerce, and arts or humanities based system is removed, and we'll be having world like 4 years undergraduate higher education. So we are aligned with the world, and we are more concerned about having global standard where we are following Indian ethos, and we are appreciating that we need to empower our youngster with the 21st century skill sets. If you could see in the next slide, all these required skills are must, not only for students, communication. So we all are using nowadays one or the other app to communicate to our students. So these are the desired skills. We are talking about employability. So employability, and we need to really understand the type of communication our students are using. They are there on so many social networks, social websites, social apps they are using. So we need to really understand how we need to bring them into the class in case we are talking about, and how they need to be exposed worldwide to the open world. We are talking about digitalization. We are talking about so many courses are available, open education resources that we need to talk about, how they need to be more clear about concept, the basics, and they need to appreciate collaboration. And for that, they can use so many internet-based digital tools where they are creating their own solution. Critical thinking to problem solving, these are a few set, especially internet, especially the digitalization, these are few things. That is the reason 3 things in these NEP 2020 have been recommended for higher education. If you could see in the next slide, one is flexible and lifelong learning. That is the reason multiple entry and exit system has been introduced, wherein a student who is unable to continue his higher education is having those certificate, diploma, and degree provisions. In case they're unable to continue because of different reason, physical or monetary reason, they'll be having at least something in hand in case they stop after first year or second year or third year. That is a way to encourage people to enroll more for higher education. It's not now commitment for 4 years, that yes, in case you cannot continue, still you have something in hand, and later on you can again continue. So we do have some banking kind of system where the credit can be really noted. That means these many credit has been earned by the student in terms of a certificate or diploma or degree. So if we are talking about equitable education for everyone, access to information and access to education for everyone, so this multiple entry and exit system encourage better enrollment for higher education. Another reason for this MEES, multiple entry and exit system, is to align with world. That means how we need to, especially in NEP, there's a provision for foreign players, foreign university to enter into India. They can have their study center or franchisee or their other. Why an Indian should go overseas for education? Why can't India be that superpower of knowledge? How we can encourage foreign student enrollment in India to go overseas for higher education. So it's a challenge for private educationists to really have that infrastructure that is aligned with the world level. For me, for an academician, I need to follow what is being taught worldwide. I need to have my own system. If you see, another very important feature is that for primary education to initiate creative thinking, first few years, the children's or the students have the provision that learner can really learn in their local language. So how dominance of language for education won't be there applicable in the initial year. Initial years are the formation of a person, personality, thinking, creative thinking, and intellect. So how that can be encouraged in the ecosystem where the local language to be used. So I think these are the three pillars: privatization, digitalization, and flexibility. So this is last that for higher education, nation building university where degrees would be given digitally, and all different government initiative in terms of Swayam Prabha, and all these online resources can be integrated in one form. How rather than having multiple university, they can be together under same. So at state level, how we can have education, those who are unable to have full-time education, university-based education, they can have digital education. Like for villages, they don't need to travel. In their village only, they can knowledge and they can be more employable. Foreign universities, I've already covered, to encourage foreign university to set up their own premises over here. So we are welcoming as a country how we can contribute towards the globe in terms of being a knowledge superpower as a country. Flexible learning, we have already covered in terms of nation building, how the youngster diploma, certificate, and degree courses, and along with other parts of the world, we'll be having that 4 years undergraduate courses. And the last thing is about the streams. So it is yet to be announced how a science student can go for a subject of humanities or a humanities student can go for. So that strict silos of these streams won't be followed for higher education. With this, I would like to sum up with another important point of discussion, which I have learned during these years of last 4 years, that yes, this particular topic can be further taken to the next level of FDP. What are the skill requirements for the academicians that we need to really undertake, especially using these digital modes, especially understanding the young generation, their psychology, and especially learning mentoring online, mentoring offline. With this, I would like to open the floor for a point of discussion where all of us, the academician, can share our concern, can share our experiences, that what really worked in your case, how you handle a particular set of students, and how we can contribute towards building first our own student as a morally strong, value-based character, who are empowered, who are ready to accept challenges and being employable. We need to tell them those practical application of the subjects we are teaching. They need to really understand why they are enrolled in a program and what is the contribution of the subject we are teaching and how it's going to help them. With this, I am leaving this platform for discussion where I can reply to the queries as well. Thank you, George, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Adita.
Thank you, ma'am. So, before beginning our vote of thanks session, we can take a group photo. So I request you to turn on your cameras now.
Adita, if anyone has any question, they can ask. Either they can ask or they can type in the chat box.
Any questions?
I think your voice is not clear. If anybody is having any questions, you can either ask or type in the chat box. Are we done with the photo?
All of you, please turn on your cameras. Now I invite Dr. Jasmine Miss as Assistant Professor and Aloysius College for delivering vote of thanks. Jasmine ma'am, please.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Good evening, one and all. Dr. Chakojo P, Principal St. Aloysius College. Speaker of the day, Dr. Mamda Chawla. Dr. Libson KB, IQAC Coordinator. Dr. Sindhu Jacob, Director, St. Chavara Center for Teaching Excellence and Educational Innovation. Dr. Rahul Rajan, Dr. Adita Unni, all other faculty members of St. Aloysius College, and all dear participants. St. Chavara Center for Teaching Excellence and Educational Innovation is a venture by St. Aloysius College IQAC to train faculties of higher education institutions through various advanced pedagogical methods to empower future generations. This is the 6th such training programs and 5th online talk. The SCCTEI is organizing all events at a convenient time so that everyone, those who wish to attend, can do it. I would like to thank the management and principal, Dr. Chakojo P, for supporting IQAC to start such a great venture for training the teachers. Dr. Mamda Chawla, today's speaker, transferred many information regarding national building and education, sustainable development goals, quality education, national education policy, Bloom's taxonomy, multiple entry and exit system, which enhanced our minds. Even though there were some network issues, she tried hard to expel as much information as possible. Recently, she had been honored with the Ratna Bharat Amrit Award, including Great Ratna Mentor Award and many more awards. Dear Dr. Mamta Chawla, we thank you on behalf of St. Aloysius College and St. Chavara Center for Teaching Excellence and Educational Innovation and all the participants for your kind heart to accept our invitation and deliver a beautiful talk. I extend our heartily gratitude to our dear principal, Dr. Chako Jospi, for the great support and encouragement you are providing to the college, faculty, and in particular, St. Chavara Center for Teaching Excellence and Educational Innovation. I would like to extend our gratitude to Dr. Sindo Jacob, the director of St. Aloysius College, the director of St. Chavara Center for Teaching Excellence and Educational Innovation, for organizing such wonderful sessions for faculty members of higher education institutions. I thank Dr. Libison KB, IQAC Coordinator, St. Aloysius College, Elthurut, for his overwhelming support towards the St. Chavara Center for Teaching Excellence and Educational Innovation and all its programs. I would like to thank all the participants who have attended the program with great encouragement and happiness for learning new things. Thank you all once again and request you to participate in as many programs which are conducted by St. Chavara Center for Teaching Excellence and Educational Innovation for improving yourself. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am, Jasmine ma'am. So I request all of you to fill the feedback form available in the chat box. Once again, thank you all.